First day of March and a great day to talk some Michigan football. It's always a good time to talk some Michigan football. Michigan, the national champs. 18 of those champs are in Indy for the combine, and we have former Wolverine Jerry Diorio, who is with us live and on the line. It's great to see him. Jerry, how's it going?
Couldn't be much better, Denny. I mean, I am very, very blessed. I'm sitting here in sunny Miami Beach, Florida, North Beach. I'm looking out at the ocean, the palm trees blowing. I've been a very blessed young man, and one of the great blessings was going to Michigan. So,
North Beach, I have heard a lot about South Beach, and I spent a couple hours 6-7 years ago down there, but I hadn't really heard of North Beach. What's the difference, similarities, and differences between North and South Beach?
Well, the little I know, Denny, I think that South Beach is a little bit more of the entertainment center as far as the heat is concerned, and downtown there for that, and then the beach is probably a little bit younger crowd, but here, right on the, I couldn't be happier. Right on the beach, right on the beach, and it's just very quiet here in North Beach, and it's nice.
I had a little bit, I don't know what you'd call it, maybe culture shock for me. We were sitting there and to see everybody, I was surprised at just how small the swimsuits are. In Michigan, you go to I've been on the beach, but then I went to South Beach and there were no costumes, there were no swimsuits. Like, where are they all at? But hey, that's what the natives were. That's what everybody was wearing. So what am I going to do? Tell everybody, hey, cover up, whatever. But that's what they were going with. That was 5-6 years ago. So I don't know how different it is now.
No comment.
Okay, that's a good move.
Hey, Denny, some of these bathing suits I don't think have a back because they're just covering the front. They're not covering the back. So I no comment.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess you don't need coverage back there. Maybe they're cheaper. Get a deal, half off. They're not a whole lot up top either, but hey, it's all right. It's okay. What's going on? I'm all right.
I got to be careful, Denny. I'm here with my wife, and just got to be careful about that kind of stuff. No comment.
Yeah, I survived, so I made it through, and everything that was good. So we've got a pair of things to talk about today. One is Ohio State, and we're going to get Jerry's early read on just how Michigan stacks up versus Ohio State in 24. Ohio State, it's been Ohio State all over in this offseason. They're the offseason champs. They hit the transfer portal. They spent more money than, opened up Fort Knox down in Columbus, and they've bought every player, and they are just ready to go. And you look, we've got the way too early college football rankings up there, right behind Georgia. That is where Ohio State sits. So we'll see how Jerry thinks Michigan stacks up versus Ohio State coming up next year, a game that will be played in Columbus. But we're going to start with what is going on presently, and that is the combine in Indianapolis. And you have 18 Wolverines, and you figured that because Michigan was the national champs, that they would be talked about a lot in Indy. I would add in, Jerry, that you have Rich Eisen, who works for the NFL Network, and he's in a pig and slop down there, enjoying every time somebody comes up with him. He loves just watching those 40s and talking about the 40 times, and 18 Wolverines there. I mean, he is in heaven. It's a little bit of a victory lap for Michigan fans, and you might not have thought about it, but everybody celebrating the national championship, talking about Michigan. And so it's nice to remember January the 8th and what Michigan accomplished.
Yeah, Denny, we said it all along that this was a team of professionals, and I think we've been vindicated. 18 kids going to the NFL Combine is a remarkable number. And, I listened to you and Scar earlier today or earlier this week. And, I can see 15 NFL players off that team. And you think about that. 15 players in the NFL off of a 22-man rotation. It was supposed to be a 22-man rotation. Really, it was a 40-man rotation. But 15 kids going into the NFL would be remarkable, would be a remarkable feat. And, I also heard you and Scar talk about it was little Schembechler Hall in Indianapolis with all the coaches and the players all there. And don't kid yourself. That's huge in recruiting. That's going to be huge in the transfer portal. And it's going to be huge for NIL. So that's a remarkable year. It's going to pay dividends long past where we're at now. And it was just a phenomenal year. Phenomenal year.
Speaking of Scar, you're talking about Jim Scarcelli, the former Wolverine who right now is joining us on Wednesdays. And somebody asked a question. It was Papa who said he recalled old Scar back in October discussing the serious mustache he wore back in his playing days. And according to Papa, he says Scar said he would grow it back if Michigan won the Natty. Now, I have just texted Scar, and he has responded to me. I guess you can't read that, so I will read it. The feedback, Scar says, they win a Big Ten championship, and I'll grow it back. Now, I'll have to go back. If he said that, and now he's saying, well, now they got to win a Big Ten title, Papa. So I don't know. I think you recall, and I kind of recall it myself. But if I can find the wording, we'll press him a little bit more on him saying get a national or get another Big Ten championship, which would be 4 in a row. Obviously. So there you go.
Papa Q, are you sure? Are you sure you want to see Scar with a mustache? Are you sure about that, Papa Q? Because I'm going to text him and remind him of that promise to grow that 70s style mustache that he used to sport when I was with him back in the day. So we're gonna get on him, Papa Q. But are you sure you want to see Scar with a 70s style mustache? That's the question.
Jerry, you're all tan and, down there in North Beach and everything else. So you probably don't want to grow a mustache, but did you ever sport any facial hair?
Yes, I did. I actually, during COVID, I had a full beard, and it was the first time I ever really grew a full one. I tried to grow one in college, but it was a summer beard. Summer here, summer there, summer, all over the place. And then I did try a mustache, 11 on each side. It was a football mustache, 11 on this side, 11 on that side. So I quit that facial stuff.
Okay. I like
Kent, you're trying to get me in trouble. Kent, you're trying to get me in trouble. I personally like the tiny suits. You're trying to get me in trouble, Kent. I ain't biting, though.
Oh, yeah, Jerry's reading off of I didn't know what you were talking about. I'm like, wait a second. What are you talking about? Well, let's get to, out of those 18 Wolverines, the draft is coming up. It's in Detroit this year. What a great year to have the draft. You have 5, 6 quarterbacks, maybe 7 quarterbacks, a record number that can be taken in the first round. You have a hometown player in J.J. McCarthy who is shooting up draft boards. And you also have a ton of wide receivers. And then the Lions are coming off their best season in 66 years. I mean, this is a great time. Hopefully we have some weather like we've had around here. You wouldn't know about that, Jerry, but we've had some nice weather around here in February and today to kick off March. So it is just going to be spectacular. But I want Jerry to think about it for a second. Guys that you think will be undervalued. I just talked about McCarthy shooting up the boards. Is there anybody else you think that could or be undervalued when you speak of Michigan and the draft and with the combine that's top of mind? I do want to tell you everybody that this also should be top of mind, and that is joining up the Maize and Blue Review. You do that, and you talk Michigan all day and all night, and it starts immediately with that kind of conversation over on the Den, plus articles, the latest of what's going on in recruiting, who Michigan's really after, what's going on with the transfer portal, what's going on with basketball and the latest with Juwan Howard. Ward Manuel is always talked about. I think there's a thread at least once every other hour. Somebody putting a question up about the Michigan athletic director. So all of that is up there to get to. And we want to see you over there. Join the Maize and Blue Review today by going to michigan.rivals.com to get that done. All right, 18 invitees. And you had Chris Jenkins running a 4.91. There was nobody that weighed more than 299 that ran better than Jenkins. And overall, he was fourth best. So he acquitted himself just fine. And personality is not part of it. I don't know. I guess the meeting room, maybe it could be. But if I'm ranking Jenkins on a personality scale, Jerry, of 1 being a dud and 10 being, just the kind of guy that's going to light up a room, Jenkins is a 10.
I agree with you, Denny. I'm going to tell you, the only reason Jenkins, I think, is not being talked about as much in that first or second position of defensive lineman is because when you look at the interior defensive lineman on the board right now, there's some pretty good ones. There's that Brandon Fisk, or he was a transfer from Western Michigan who went down to Florida State, and I think I mentioned him a few times this year.
Yeah, you did.
He is a very good ball player, and from what I've seen from the reports coming out of the combine is he lit it up. He lit it up one after the other. The 2 kids from Texas were good, and the thing that amazes me, the thing that really just stands out is how big these guys are and how fast they are. It's incredible how much speed these guys are moving, or how much weight they're moving at that kind of speed. I mean, it's almost dangerous, but there's some really good defensive prospects. I can see Chris Jenkins, to me, kind of reminds me of oh gosh, now I can't even think of his name with the Rams.
Aaron Donald.
You betcha. You think about it. Jenkins came in as an edge rusher. He was the edge, and they moved him down. I mean, you talk about a guy who completely developed as a football player, and it was Chris Jenkins. I mean, he came in as an edge at 240, and all of a sudden he's the strongest player on the Michigan football team his senior year, and playing defensive tackle. So I see a lot of upside with Chris Jenkins. I don't think it's a miss anywhere with Chris Jenkins. I think he's going to be a great player. And to be honest with you, I think that's the guy I would say is the most undervalued. Not that we don't have other people that are undervalued in this draft, but the most. I think JJ. If you're taking JJ, if you're getting JJ as the 5th quarterback in the draft, I think you're a very lucky team. I think that's going to be a very good quarterback, long-term quarterback, and I think he could do some really good things. Again, I think the Bears and maybe the Saints are the 2 best fits. If I'm the Bears, I'm taking Marvin Harris, number 1. I'm trading JJ down a few, and I'm taking him 2nd, and that's your competition with Fields. If you want Fields to compete, put JJ behind him. I guarantee you, you're going to get the best out of both of them. The other one, Zach Zenner. I think there's a lot of people a little bit hesitant or moved him down a little bit because of his leg problem. But I think he is I think he could be an undervalued guy. And the guy I've said all along that is very undervalued and has been very undervalued all along because of Zenner and because of all the other offensive linemen with them is Keegan. I think Keegan he's got a nasty spell to him. There's something about that kid I just really like, and I think he's got a nasty spell. The other one that's really turned some heads this year is Roman Wilson. Roman Wilson lit it up in the North-South game, and everything I'm hearing from him. I mean, I was listening to Dan Patrick today. My wife loves Dan Patrick. So I'm listening to Dan Patrick, and they're talking about Roman Wilson being the fastest player in the combine. I didn't realize he was that fast. So I think Roman Wilson could be a surprise there. Mike Sanderstill, yeah, somebody's up. Michael Wilson's putting up there about Michael Sanderstill. I didn't put him up as really underrated because I think he's going to go. I think he's going to go quick. I think between Minner, McDonald, Harbaugh, Sanderstill is going to come off quick.
Wow, lots that you went through there. I'll go back to Jenkins. I do remember when he was coming in, and the thing is his uncle played in the pros at defensive tackle, and so did his dad, and they were over 300 pounds. And you look at Chris, and he's thinking he can grow into that body, and he didn't quite get as big as his dad or uncle, but even if he didn't run a very fast 40, and I don't know, a 40 for a defensive tackle, it's fine just to see him go through it. But I would put on the tape of the Rose Bowl in the fourth quarter when Jenkins ran down Jalen Milroe from behind for, I don't know, the 8-10 yards. He was downfield, and the burst, because he was in the backfield, he probably had to run, 20 yards to get to him. It's incredible when it came down to Jenkins. And there were at least 3 or 4 times watching Michigan just back over the last 2 years where I would look and I'd say, wow, who's that downfield? And it's 94 sprinting downfield and tackling running backs. I know Kenneth Grant did it against Penn State, which really stood out
of my mouth.
But Jenkins did it too, and it was very impressive the way that he did that with Milroe. So I agree with everything that you had to say there. And Zinter, people might be a little gun shy because of the injury, but they also know that that's something that's going to heal up. And Keegan. That's why when those guys were coming back last year, you get 2 pro guards, and then you're thinking this is really going to be something. Everybody knows I was the leader of the Roman Wilson fan club. So if I'm picking somebody, I am going to an undervalued Wolverine in the draft. I am going to go to Trente Jones, who wore number 53 at Michigan. Now, I was surprised that I guess you could say he got beat out, but late in the year they needed him. After Zinter got injured in the Ohio State game, it was Trente Jones that took over at right tackle, and he played great, not good, great against Alabama. And a couple of those defensive ends, I would think that when you're watching the tape and the top defensive end, I know Chop Robinson's over there, but the guy from Alabama, Trente Jones, handled him.
Yeah.
What else do you want? You got to say, oh, well, how's he going to do against these NFL defensive ends? He's going to do pretty good. And he did pretty good against Washington in the championship game. So I don't know if he's going to get drafted. Man, I would have him on the board as an undrafted free agent, and I think that Trente Jones will surprise people in the NFL, and it wouldn't surprise me if he started. He's an unbelievable athlete. He's smart, and then he came to play in the biggest games for Michigan. I think he could be out there and be a starter.
I met him after the national championship game. And I never realized how big he really is. I mean, he is a man. He is a mammoth man. Tremendous size. And like you said, I agree with you, Denny. He could be the sleeper right there because when he came in very adverse time and really put together some solid performances. I mean, top-notch performances. So, yeah, Denny, I would agree with you. Jones, he could be the biggest sleeper.
Trepa is asking how many of these players at the Combine were able to stay an extra year because of COVID. Now, all of these guys, I'm just looking through here, I don't think Michael Barrett, he had a 6th year, so he used his COVID season. And I think everybody else could have come back. Even Kojo, who was a 19, he could have used that. And I don't know if Josh Wallace could have because he was a grad transfer. But I actually think that everybody who went actually could have come back. I thought even Ladarius, maybe Henderson, he was a grad transfer, So maybe he couldn't have, Barrett couldn't have, and maybe Nugent as a grad transfer. But I think everyone else actually could have come back if they wanted to.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine Michigan next year with all these guys coming back? But no, there was a special group. I mean, I think you'd have to put would Barner have been able to come back?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought he was able to.
You know what? Now that you mentioned, now that we were talking about it, yeah, I think you're right. He could have come back, but there are a couple guys in there that I think should have come back. I was an undrafted free agent after my senior year, and I went to the Denver Broncos. And there's a reason why pro football players make as much money as they do. They're all pretty doggone good. I mean, that's a special fraternity to play in, and I think some of our guys could have been a little bit better off coming and staying around, getting one more year in.
Jerry froze for a second, but he looks good. Maybe he'll come back in a second.
Danny, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you froze up just for a couple seconds.
For a second.
Yeah, you did just for a second. You were talking about just how good you have to be in the NFL.
I mean, it's incredible how good these players are, and they're just getting bigger and faster and stronger every year. I mean, I remember some of those guys that I saw, and coming out of Michigan, I think we were the second-ranked team in the nation rushing the ball. I was feeling pretty good about myself, and didn't get drafted. I thought I did pretty well at the combine, but didn't get drafted, and then I signed with Denver. It's amazing how good these ball players are. These pros are. They're elite, to say the least.
You can get money to come back now with name, image, and likeness, so it's a different ball game. But still, and Michael Barrett came back, and so but he had such a tremendous year. You wonder, if more players, and Jack Tuttle was awarded a seventh year. But I just look at there's two players, not with Michigan, but they are both Big Ten players. One, Zach Edey, the big 7'4" center for Purdue. He actually has another year, and he's a great college basketball player. He's going to be the two-time player of the year in college basketball, and he's going. Now, I would think Purdue, whatever the record is for NIL, for basketball at Purdue or in the Big Ten, that would be the guy that I would have stacked the money up and said, hey, anything you want. I don't even know, $4 or $5 million what he would be worth. And the other player is with the Iowa Hawkeyes, and Caitlin Clark, the outstanding scorer who'll shoot from anywhere on the floor. Now she's declared to the WNBA, and she could come back. And I would think Iowa, I don't know what the record is for women's college basketball, but she would set it. But those, I think, you're in college, you want to go pro. There's an example. I would think that those would have been two that would have.
If I'm Iowa, I'm going to try to get Caitlin back any way I can. Have you seen some of the numbers that are coming out as far as the attendance of these games? It's incredible. I'm going to say she's selling out stadiums. What a money grab, and that's why NIL revenue sharing is so important. These kids are so disciplined, dedicated, and doing so much for the university. It was a shame not to give give the players anything or any compensation at all. And I think if I'm Iowa, I'm going to try everything in my power to get her back.
Yeah, I know she said that she's gone.
Because that equates to money. They
sold out the Big Ten tournament, the women, like in the first day, everything, everywhere she goes. I mean, she's a rock star and everything else. I hear you about that. It does show you as well, like with the men's game, I like college basketball. I enjoy this month as much as everyone. But I turn the games on and I look at, and I don't know pretty much. Guys could be in the top 25. I don't know who Hunter Dickinson is from Kansas, but I don't know the rest of his teammates. College basketball, women's game, they stay around for 2, 3. They stay around for 4, and in this case, sometimes 5 years, and you have that name recognition. I'm fine with player empowerment and everything, but it does hurt the game. It'd be nice if you could see them stick around for 3 years and they're getting paid. So I don't know how Jerry.
I think that's what NIL and revenue sharing is going to do. I think you're going to see more and more people. I think of those 18 guys that went to the combine, there are going to be a couple of hurt feelings at the end of two-a-days next year, at the end of summer camp, and they're going to rethink their decision. And I think the NIL, the revenue sharing, that's going to cause people to stay around a lot more. Look at Zenner came back this year. Quorum came back. Those were unexpected, nice surprises last year. So I love the NIL and I love the revenue sharing idea.
Jerry, Ladarius Henderson, here's a question. He started at Michigan. He was a little bit banged up at the beginning of the year, but he got out there and then was Michigan's starting left tackle. So you're starting left tackle on a championship team. You're thinking, hey, this guy's got a spot in the NFL. From what you've seen of him, he is not expected to go in the early rounds, but you think Henderson could be somebody that would be looked at as somebody who could make it in the league?
I think Henderson, if he's going to make it in the league, I think he's going to have to go at a guard position. I just think he's going to have to be ready to move to a guard. And I think that would be probably his best avenue to get into the NFL. Let me, Denny, I'd like to share a little bit here, share a screen for you. So if you want to put some advertising up there, you're more than welcome to. But I'd like to share this screen here real quick, if you don't mind.
Do it. Let's do it. Throw it up there.
A site I saw or I came across as far as the draft board. Can you see it up here, Denny?
Yes.
Okay. And so you can look at all these different teams and who's going where and what their draft status is. And this is what I'm looking at right now. And these are the players that are look to be drafted. You could see Junior Colson. I think that's a good one right there. Stanisio, I think, is going to move up. I don't think he's going to be there. But I think right about here down are bubble players, in my opinion. Those are the bubble players, in my opinion. Harrell, Henderson, Wallace, Jones, Barnhart. When I say bubble players, that you know what I mean. They're going to make it, or they're going to make it by what they do during the camp and really have to impress people. McGregor is another one that might be on the bubble there. He's going to be real close. But other than that, I think there's a good chance that they're all going to stay. They're all going to make the NFL teams.
Well, let me ask you the question that I asked Jim Scarcelli. Scarcelli wanted to bet me, and so we did make a bet. Scar said that there will be more than 15. Michigan's got 18 players there. I said less than 15. So if it's over 15, Scar gets the burger. Less than 15, I do. So what would you say about the 18 players? How many do you think? Now, you just said you think all of them have a chance to, and they can do it at the camp, but you also know how it works. How many of those guys do you think are going to get?
I'm gonna have to. It's going to get. That's 15 is tough. That's a tough number to hit. Making the team. But Denny, I'm going to go over 15. I'm going to bet you the hamburger too. Scar likes Burger King, I heard. So we'll let you off the hook and get 2 for $5 or something like that. Or if we get the 15, if we get the over 15 number.
If it's me, we're going to a nice burger place.
I kind of figured that, Denny. There's got to be a nice place down there in Dexter, huh?
Oh, there are quite a few places in Dexter.
I'll bet there are. Bet there are.
When old Scar said BK, I didn't throw him, the places that I wanted to go, but I'll have to do that. The Moose is in agreement with you.
Yeah, I think
17 minimum.
I think I'm with the Scar over 15.
Okay, so the other thing we said we're going to talk about is Ohio State. And Ohio State, they've had a nice offseason of acquiring players. They got running backs. They got picked up a quarterback, which we're going to get to, and they've got outstanding wide receivers. And when rival fans, when Michigan fans blast Ohio State, I watch them, back and forth on the internet. Michigan fans love calling Ohio State soft, and it kills Ohio State. Like, it kills them, to hear that. There's always a little bit when you have your rival that's like needling you. There's always a little bit of truth to what's going on there. And so the label of soft for Ohio State, but Michigan's beat them 3 times in a row. And Ohio State, they're going to be, it looks like the number 2 team in the country, and they'll have Michigan at home. Are you thinking that Michigan should concede that game here on March the 1st to the Ohio State Buckeyes, Jerry?
Yeah, but let's play it anyways. Just busting you a little bit, Denny. It seems to me that Ohio State has embraced this blame everybody but what's actually happening on the football field. Last year, they blamed the offensive coordinator, and they tried to blame Kyle McCord. I'm going to try to show you a couple passes that McCord threw, a few passes that McCord threw that were brilliant. Were brilliant, and I think Ohio State stepped down on their quarterback. You got Kyle McCord, who just went through an 11-1 season and got beat by Michigan in the Big House his first game. I didn't think Kyle McCord cost them that game. I think Kyle McCord performed pretty well, to be honest with you. And you see some of the throws that he made in that game were pretty spectacular. So when Ohio State is all giddy about bringing in Kansas State quarterback versus Kyle McCord, let's think about this. Kyle McCord's already seen the Michigan defense. He's already aware of what that defense can do. This guy is coming in, talking a lot of stuff too, by the way. That's going to be all over the billboards in Ann Arbor when they come together. What's
going to be over the billboards?
All that he's saying. He came out when he came out and he said, I'm going to Ohio State. He said something about we're going to beat that team up north or some kind of stuff right off the bat. I think he's going to talk a little bit more, and he's going to have a lot of billboard stuff or a lot of bulletin board stuff up there in the Michigan in Schembechler Hall. I think he's going to say some stupid things, but he hasn't seen a defense even close to this. And you got Wink Martindale coming in, and you can basically say Wink taught Mike McDonald and Minner. We've got him on the staff. So the defense is going to be just fine. Probably the best defense in the country. So this guy coming in talking this stuff already, I think Ohio State did a disservice to themselves running Kyle McCord out, to be honest with you. And I think it's going to have something to do with recruiting too.
Here is a Buckeye fan who says it's about the other games, not the Michigan game. He said,
keep
Howard,
thinking that way. Keep thinking that way.
He said,
all through my history in this game, that's all we ever thought about. As a player, coaches, every day there was something about Ohio State on our mind. So it's nice to say that kind of stuff, but at the end of the day, that's where it all comes down to.
Well, I think when it comes down to Ohio State, they got a lot of fancy pieces. They've got the car, and I can actually understand why they are so confident with the amount of talent that they've brought in and the success that they've had at the quarterback position. I recall that in 2019 that I thought that it was, I don't know if Michigan was ever going to win a game against Ohio State again. The unbelievable run that OSU had with the quarterbacks, one after the other. And if the starter got hurt, the backup was good. And the backup got hurt. They even brought the third string guy in, and he had success at some point. And then going into 2019, Michigan had the game at home. Ohio State had a new coach. They had a new quarterback, and Michigan had a returning starting quarterback, and they gave up 56 points and lost the game. I just thought that Michigan was never going to win another game. My point to all of that is it's hard to get the quarterback position right. And they finally, last year, they didn't get like the great play. It would have been okay play and develop them. And now they've moved on and they get another guy.
So now you got a whole new system for a whole new quarterback. So back to square one. I'm glad for that.
And that's it. I was the year before when Shea Patterson came in, hey, 5-star quarterback, like Michigan, and Michigan fans, rightfully so, they were pretty excited about getting this guy in. This guy's supposed to be one of their, and Shea Patterson couldn't throw the ball downfield in the pocket, and that didn't work. I mean, he was all right, but he wasn't the kind of guy who was going to lead you to a championship, certainly not a national championship. And I have watched the quarterback from Kansas State, Will Howard. I watched him play against TCU in that Big 12 championship game, and that was a hell of a game. They were going back and forth, and he's big and he can run, but that doesn't mean he's going to be able to translate at Ohio State, and he's just going to come in and he might be. But my point about all of that is that they've had such a run that they don't understand that you don't just put guys out there under center and they give you that championship type play. It is hard. Now, Michigan has to replace their own. The reason I feel pretty good about Michigan in the system is that they came out, if it was just JJ, and you'd say, wow, now Michigan's in trouble. But they did it also with McNamara, with the same kind of way that they're going to be playing this year, which, makes me feel good. I still, the quarterback position is a pretty big focus, for U of M, as you know, but all of that, I just threw a lot at you, Jerry, but that's the way I feel about it. OSU doesn't necessarily mean that you just get another quarterback up there and he's going to play like the quarterbacks have for the last 20 years. He might play. Howard might play like McCord did last year. He might not be, the greatest thing ever. And then, with Michigan, their system, I feel all right because they were able to do it with a game manager, a little bit better than a pedestrian quarterback in Cade McNamara. It sounds like I'm knocking him. I'm not. He deserved the accolades of being able to get Michigan to the college football playoff. So, there we go.
Denny, I think when you have a quarterback that went through the season, McCord did. I mean, there's 11 wins under his belt in the Big Ten. Beat Notre Dame in South Bend. Beat Penn State. This guy was no joke. And he made, and if we get time, I'm going to show you some nice throws that he made. My opinion, I think they're stepping back. They have to start all over now with a new offensive coordinator. Blame the offensive coordinator. Then you have to start all over with a new quarterback. Spring ball ain't all that much. It's only 20 practices, 15 in pads. So they got a lot of work to do. I love where we're at. I love where we're at with our quarterback situation. We got a quarterback in OG that can run you over. I heard Scar talk about coaches that feel bad when their quarterbacks get hurt because they run them so much. And I understand that. That's why I've always liked the big quarterback that can, the Josh Allens. I had a quarterback when I was at Lakeview. Goodman. He was a linebacker for me. He played linebacker for me. I liked the running quarterback. So, and we didn't mess around. We ran the quarterback a lot. And the reason why we did was it worked. It was effective. It makes the defense adjust and have to play that run that quarterback. And with Orji, it's a big boy. It's going to take a lot to knock him out. And we've got two other ones that are going to be competing with this quarterback position. How I feel about Denigal. I think he can run. I think he can run. I would not shy away from him running the ball. I've seen him put his shoulder down. I like him running the ball, and I like him throwing the ball. He's got a rifle. He can throw the ball. I've seen him a few times, and back in the summertime when he went against JJ in that competition. So, and then you got the experience with Tuttle. So you got 3 really good quarterbacks in a system that they're very, very familiar with the coaches that know who they are. I feel much better about where we're at with the quarterback position than where they're at.
Well, Howard is a dual threat guy. He no doubt will run, and he's big. He's 6'5", so he's looking to throw first, but he can run, and he's a big. You mentioned Josh Allen. I was thinking, wow, he kind of has the measurables of Josh Allen, but we have time for that tape. Jerry, Don says that Howard was told to leave Manhattan because they were going to play a younger guy next year, and he was also beat before they had Martinez. I don't know if that's actually true. They told him to take off or whatever else. What I was reading is he was deciding to go pro, but then Ohio State opened up, and there he was. So there it is. But you do have
I'm going to take
man. Go ahead. Let's look at some of that tape.
Let's okay. I'm going to show you 2 incompletions that McCord threw that would have blown the game open. If no, let me get this one. That would have blown the game open if McCord would have thrown the ball where he was supposed to throw the ball. I hope I got the right one. I might have to cancel this one, Denny.
That's all right.
Oh boy, give me a second here, Denny.
Take your time.
Okay.
Take your time, because I can then emphasize even to Buckeye Garrison, because then what he can do is he can get the special pass to go to Rivals, and he can learn everything about Ohio State down there with the all access pass to Rivals. But go to michigan.rivals.com. You can see Buckeye Garrison. Obviously, you like what the opponents are saying about you. Check it out, the Maize and Blue Review, and go to michigan.rivals.com. And we are talking about Ohio State all the time when it comes down to the posting board there. All right, Jerry, what do we got? What are we looking at?
Okay, these first few throws are good throws by McCord that were completions. I mean, here's one to Marvin Harrison. Now remember, this is Will Johnson, arguably the best corner in college football.
I call him Maserati Marv.
Okay, this is Johnson against Marvin Harris. Watch the placement on this throw here. This is a great throw. Look at we even have a safety coming over. So Johnson even knows he's got a little bit of help. This is great coverage. There's nothing wrong with that coverage at all. Throws a back shoulder inside slot fade. This is a very difficult throw against great competition on the road in the wintertime, and he hits it. That's a heck of a throw right there. That's Will Johnson on him with who is that? Page coming over?
Yeah.
Okay. Always love seeing that one. Okay.
That was controversial.
Here's another one. With here's another Ohio State Buckeye going to the NFL. Stover running right down the seam against Michigan. Watch the ball placement McCord puts here. This is a big-time throw. That's not bad coverage right there. No. Watch the ball placement. Watch it from this angle. Watch it from this angle. Well, I guess it's the next one. Look at that angle. Look at that ball placement right there. There's not much room for the defense to miss up there. Look at the ball placement there, Denny. That's a phenomenal throw right there. Down the middle with a safety sitting in the middle of the field, too. He doesn't know that safety's going the other way. As soon as he sees it, though, he knows where that ball's got to go. High, in the seam, and we're lucky that's not a touchdown right there. That's a great ball placement right there by McCord.
Who's that guarding him? Who's that, Jimmy Rolder?
I think so, yes. Yes.
All right.
Here's another one. Remember this play. Again, Johnson against Harrison. Two of the best.
Yeah.
Two of the best going head-to-head. McCord has to step up in the pocket. Throw with his feet moving. That's not an easy thing to do.
Oh, heads up. The guy's rolling all around.
Heads up, eyes down the field, throws the ball, and if it's not for Johnson making interference, that's a touchdown right there.
Man.
Look at the ball placement again. There's nowhere the ball could have been thrown any better.
Get him out of here. I'm just kidding.
Okay, and I just threw this one in because I like this.
All right.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing that. Now I'm going to show you a couple other ones.
There's Orgy.
Yeah, that's why I said that, Denny. I like sharing that one. So I want to show you this one. And these are two misses that were touchdowns the other way if he does complete them. Is this the one or is this the one? Okay, yep, this is it right here.
All right.
You seeing me, Denny?
Yes.
This is not the greatest camera angle, but this is a great miss because watch, I think this is Colston here. If he throws it to where Marvin Harris is or is supposed to be on this throw, this thing is going back. I think Marvin Harris was coming in and they had him surrounded every which way. And that's why McCord threw it there to miss that. Then here in this one, here's another good miss. I mean, good misses are sometimes very good throws because they could be going back the other way. Here's Wallace. If he throws the ball where it's supposed to be throwing, this is Palm's coverage. If he throws the ball where it's supposed to be throwing, that ball is going back. You see that?
Yep.
That ball is going back the other way for a touchdown. He misses that.
That's a good ball. That's a good ball by McCord, you're saying.
That's a freaking
yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. There's no question that's a good ball. McCord played a hell of a game in this game. And then was run out. So I think Ohio State still has those same issues, the blame game. Until they get over the blame game and pointing the fingers at other players and coaches, I think they're going to continue having problems because they just lost a really good quarterback.
Yeah, Jerry, I could sit there and listen to you and watch you go over the film all day long. I love it. Great stuff. You got me, fired up. I'm ready to get out there. And I know it's a long ways away, but man, the combine, you got to set up for the weekend. Great job.
Denny, hail to the victors. It's great to be a Michigan Wolverine. And if we're done,
we are.
I love the fans on this. I love the fans on this podcast, but I'm going down to get some sun in a minute.
Hey, go down there and tell us what it's like down at the beach. There he is, Jerry Diorio. Smash that like button and tell a friend about this particular podcast and get them on here. Let's do it. And we even like the Buckeye Garrison.
Hey, Garrison, that's pretty good of you.
It is. All right.